all things health and fitness, this is the Army Gymnastics Podcast.
The Army Gymnastics Podcast.
Discover a fitter, healthier you at ArmyGymnastics.com.
Welcome to the Army Gymnastics Podcast. Today we're diving deep into a topic that, well, it touches the lives of so many women. Polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, and the hormonal imbalances that really sit at its core.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening in and this is part of your story, maybe something you're navigating right now, please know it can feel incredibly complex, maybe even frustrating sometimes. We get that.
We do. And you're definitely not alone in feeling that way.
No, definitely not.
It's so important to acknowledge that up front. I mean, PCOS isn't just a label on a chart. It's a lived experience. It carries real emotional weight.
That's a great way to put it.
And understanding the hormonal shifts involved, that's a huge step, not just for managing symptoms, but for feeling more empowered, more in tune with your own body.
Yeah.
Based on the articles and your notes you shared, it's clear you're looking for that deeper understanding, and that's exactly what we're aiming for today.
Exactly. So PCOS, at its heart, it's a hormonal disorder. It mainly affects women during their reproductive years. Now, the symptoms, they can really vary quite a bit, person to person, but often you see things like irregular menstrual cycles, higher levels of androgens. Those are sometimes called male hormones, like testosterone. The women have them too, just usually less.
Right, the balance is different.
And for some people, small cysts on the ovaries, but it's interesting, there isn't one single cause we can point to, right? It seems more like a mix.
Yeah, it really does. It looks like a combination of things. Genetics definitely plays a part. How our bodies handle insulin is a big one. And maybe a general tendency towards inflammation.
Okay.
So for this deep dive today, using the info you've gathered, our goal is to really, break down that connection between PCOS and these hormonal fluctuations.
Let's do it.
We want to explore the common symptoms you might be seeing, dig into some of the potential reasons why they happen, and then, crucially, talk about strategies, both medical routes and natural approaches too.
Perfect. So the mission is clear, actionable information to help improve well-being.
Exactly. Equipping you with knowledge.
Okay, so let's unpack the main issue here, this hormonal imbalance. In PCOS, like we said, we often see higher than normal levels of androgens. Testosterone is a key one people mention.
It is. And it's important to remember, women naturally produce some androgens. It's normal. But in PCOS, those levels can be, significantly higher than typical.
Right.
And what's really fascinating, or it may be frustrating depending on how you look at it, is the sort of cascade effect this can have.
Cascade effect.
Yeah, think of it like these high androgen levels can mess with the communication between all the other hormones. It impacts everything, your cycle, your skin, your metabolism.
Okay, so it's not just one thing being off, it throws the whole system out of whack. Like a hormonal orchestra where one instrument is way too loud.
That's a great analogy. Exactly. It disrupts the whole symphony.
Okay. And, the name itself, polycystic, can be a bit misleading, can't it?
It really can. Because while, yes, many women with PCOS do have these small fluid-filled sacs on their ovaries that you might see on an ultrasound, not everyone with PCOS has them. And just because someone has cysts doesn't automatically mean they have PCOS either.
Right. So the cysts aren't the defining feature for everyone.
Precisely. The hormonal imbalance is really the more consistent thing we see. The cysts are often more of a result of the disrupted ovulation, which is caused by the hormones being off balance.
Yeah.
They're not usually the root driver of the whole syndrome.
Got it. That clarifies things. So with that foundation, let's talk about some of the common symptoms people might be experiencing based on what you shared.
Okay.
Irregular menstrual cycles seem to be a big one, like periods that are really infrequent, unpredictable. Sometimes they just don't show up for months.
Yeah, that's often a hallmark symptom. It happens because that hormonal imbalance leads to ovulation not happening regularly or sometimes not at all. That's called anovulation. Right. And if an egg isn't released regularly, then the normal cycle of estrogen and progesterone production gets disrupted too. That's what leads to those irregular bleeding patterns or lack of periods.
So the cycle is like a sensitive barometer for overall hormonal health.
Exactly. When things are off there, it's often a sign that other hormones are out of sync too.
Okay. Another really common one, and one that can be quite distressing, is excessive hair growth, right? Hirsutism.
Yes, hirsutism. That's a direct consequence of those higher androgen levels we talked about.
So where does this hair tend to show up?
You might notice it on the face, like the chin, upper lip area, but also sometimes in the back, the abdomen, the chest, places where men typically have more hair growth.
And that can be tough emotionally.
Oh, absolutely. It can really impact self-esteem, body image. The androgens are basically like overstimulating the hair follicles in those specific spots, leading to that thicker, darker hair.
Then there's acne and oily skin. Is that linked too?
Definitely linked. Again, it often comes back to those hormone levels being off balance. And this isn't usually just, the odd spot here or there.
Right. It can be more persistent.
Yeah, persistent recurring acne. Sometimes it's really stubborn and doesn't respond well to the typical over-the-counter stuff. The androgens can ramp up sebum production. That's the oil in your skin.
Oh, okay.
More oil means potentially more clogged pores, and that sets the stage for acne. Sometimes the location, like along the jawline, can be a bit of a clue that hormones are involved.
Yeah, that makes sense. It must be frustrating when the usual treatments don't work.
It really is, and it kind of reinforces that idea that there's something deeper, an underlying hormonal issue that needs addressing.
Okay. Weight gain. This is another big challenge that comes up a lot with PCOS. People often say it's really hard to lose weight, especially around the middle.
Yes, that's very common. The struggle with weight, particularly around the abdomen, is often tied back to insulin resistance and those hormonal shifts.
You might hear it called an android fat pattern.
Exactly. Storing fat mainly around the waist, which is, more typical in men, and it's associated with those elevated androgens in women with PCOS.
So insulin resistance makes it harder for the body to use glucose properly.
Right. Your cells don't respond to insulin signal as well. So the body might end up storing more glucose as fat, and this whole process is often kind of amplified by the hormonal environment in PCOS.
Now, this one always seems a bit paradoxical. Thinning hair or hair loss on the scalp.
Yeah, it does seem contradictory, doesn't it?
You have extra hair growth elsewhere, but then hair loss on your head.
It's also linked to those higher androgen levels. It's like the same hormones are having almost opposite effects on different hair follicles.
How does that work?
Well, the androgens can stimulate the growth of that thicker, coarser hair on the body and face, but on the scalp, they can sometimes shorten the hair's growth cycle. This leads to thinner hair, maybe shedding more, often in a pattern similar to what you see in male pattern baldness.
Wow, hormones are complex.
They really are. It highlights how varied their impact can be across the body.
And what about mood changes? You mentioned the emotional weight earlier.
Yeah, things like anxiety, depression, just general mood swings seem to be more common in women with PCOS.
Is that the hormones directly, or?
It's likely a combination. The hormonal fluctuations themselves can definitely influence neurotransmitters, the brain chemicals that regulate mood. But also, like you said, there's the emotional impact of just living with the condition.
Dealing with the symptoms, the uncertainty.
Exactly. Coping with physical symptoms, potential fertility worries. The whole thing can understandably contribute to feelings of anxiety or depression. It's a really important aspect not to overlook.
Absolutely. And finally, infertility. That's a major concern for many.
It is. PCOS is actually a leading cause of infertility. And this goes back mostly to that irregular or absent ovulation, the anovulation we talked about.
If an egg isn't released regularly, conception is just much harder.
That's the main hurdle, yes, the inconsistent ovulation. But, and this is really crucial, especially given some concerns raised in the sources while PCOS can impact fertility, it definitely doesn't mean pregnancy is impossible.
Yeah, it's important to hear.
It really is. There are many effective treatments and management strategies that can significantly boost the chances of conceiving.
Okay. So, we've covered a lot of the symptoms people might recognize. Let's dive a bit deeper now into the key hormonal players you mentioned. We keep coming back to androgens, especially testosterone.
Right. Their elevation is really central to PCOS. That analogy we use, the sound system turned up too loud, kind of captures how they disrupt the harmony.
And it's not just that they're high, but how they interact with everything else.
Exactly. It's those interactions that lead to many of the symptoms we discussed, the hirsutism, the acne, maybe the scalp hair thinning.
Okay. Now, another really critical hormone you flagged is insulin.
Yes, insulin is huge in the PCOS picture. Many, though not all, women with PCOS have insulin resistance.
Meaning their cells don't respond properly to insulin.
Correct. Insulin's job is to help get glucose, sugar, from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. If the cells are resistant, they don't let the glucose in easily.
So the body makes more insulin to try and force the issue?
Exactly. The pancreas compensates by pumping out more and more insulin to try and keep blood sugar levels stable.
And what does that do in PCOS?
Well, this is where that feedback loop comes in. High levels of insulin can actually signal the ovaries to produce even more androgens.
Oh, wow. So it creates a kind of vicious cycle.
A classic vicious cycle.
Hmm.
High insulin, more androgens, potentially worse PCOS symptoms, maybe more insulin resistance. It's a key connection and often a target for management strategies.
Okay, that makes sense. Then we have estrogen and progesterone. They run the normal menstrual cycle, right?
They do. They have this intricate dance throughout a typical cycle. But in PCOS, because ovulation is often disrupted.
The dance gets thrown off.
Exactly. The normal cyclical rise and fall of estrogen and progesterone doesn't happen reliably. That's why you get the irregular periods.
And does low progesterone have other effects?
It might. Lower levels of progesterone, which normally rise after ovulation, could potentially contribute to some of the mood swings or anxiety some women experience. It also plays a role in preparing the uterus for pregnancy, so low levels are relevant for fertility too.
Got it. And lastly, you mentioned LH and FSH, luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone.
Yes, LH and FSH. They come from the pituitary gland in the brain, and they're crucial for telling the ovaries what to do, essentially triggering ovulation.
And how are they different in PCOS?
What we often see is that LH levels are relatively high compared to FSH levels. This imbalance, this skewed ratio, can interfere with the final maturation and release of an egg.
So the follicles don't mature properly?
Kind of. They might start developing, but then they get a bit stuck because the hormonal signals aren't quite right. This might be why those small cysts sometimes form. They're essentially follicles that didn't fully mature and release an egg.
Another piece of that complex hormonal puzzle.
Exactly. It all shows how interconnected these signals are.
So, with all these hormones involved, what do we actually know about why PCOS develops in the first place? What are the root causes?
That's the million-dollar question, really. And the honest answer, as the research you looked at points out, is that we don't fully understand the exact single cause.
It's likely multiple factors.
That's the prevailing view, yes. A combination. Genetics certainly seems to play a role. If PCOS runs in your family, your risk might be higher.
Okay.
Lifestyle factors are also significant, especially things that contribute to insulin resistance, like diet and physical activity levels. And there's ongoing research into potential environmental influences too, but that's less clear-cut right now.
And that insulin resistance piece just keeps coming up.
It really does. For many individuals with PCOS, that strong link between insulin resistance and the hormonal imbalances, particularly the high androgens, seems to be a central part of the story. It's key for understanding and managing it.
Okay. So if someone is listening and thinking, some of this sounds familiar, how do they know when it's time to actually talk to a doctor? What are the signs to look out for?
That's a really important question. There are several clear signs that definitely warrant a chat with a healthcare provider.
Like the irregular periods?
Definitely. If your periods are very irregular or absent altogether. Also, if you're struggling with fertility, trying to conceive without success. Unexplained weight gain that just doesn't budge despite diet and exercise changes is another big one.
And what about the other symptoms?
Yeah, if symptoms like persistent acne or that excess hair growth or noticeable hair thinning are becoming overwhelming or distressing, that's absolutely a reason to get checked out. Basically, if things feel off, don't ignore it.
Better to get it looked into.
Always. Get a professional evaluation to figure out what's really going on.
Okay, so say someone goes to the doctor. What can they expect? What happens next?
Well, the doctor will usually start by talking with you, getting a detailed medical history, asking about your specific symptoms, your cycle patterns, family history, that kind of thing.
Just gathering information?
Exactly. Then they'll likely order some blood tests. These check your hormone levels, androgens, LH, FSH, maybe thyroid hormones too. They'll probably also check markers related to insulin and blood sugar.
And maybe an ultrasound.
Very possibly, yes. A pelvic ultrasound can give them a look at your ovaries, see if there are cysts present, check the uterine lining.
So it's a combination of things to get a clear picture.
Right. As your sources highlighted, getting that clear diagnosis is really the crucial first step. It allows for tailored management and addressing your specific needs.
Okay, so we understand more about PCOS, the hormones, when to seek help. Now, the important part, what can actually be done about it? How do people manage this?
Right. Management is key, and it's usually a multi-pronged approach, not just one single thing. It often involves a mix of medical treatments and lifestyle changes, really tailored to the individual's symptoms and goals.
Makes sense. Let's maybe start with the medical options first. What are some common treatments a doctor might suggest?
Okay. Birth control pills are very commonly prescribed. They can be really effective for regulating periods and also helping to lower those androgen levels, which can improve symptoms like acne and hirsutism.
Okay.
Then there's metformin. This is actually a diabetes drug, but it's often used in PCOS because it helps improve insulin sensitivity.
Ah, tackling that insulin resistance link.
Exactly. And by doing that, it can sometimes help with weight management and might even help restore ovulation in some women.
Interesting. Any others?
Spironolactone is another one. It's an anti-androgen, so it directly works to block the effects of those excess androgens. That makes it helpful for things like excess hair growth and stubborn acne.
Okay.
And then, of course, if fertility is the main goal, there are specific fertility treatments, medications like Clomid or Letrozole to encourage ovulation. And in some cases, assisted reproductive technologies like IVF might be considered.
So there are quite a few medical tools available depending on the main concerns.
There are. But alongside those, lifestyle changes can be incredibly powerful, as your notes really emphasized.
Yeah, let's get into those natural methods. Diet seems like a big one. You mentioned a low-inflammatory diet?
Yes. Diet plays a huge role. There's growing evidence linking chronic low-grade inflammation to PCOS. So adopting an anti-inflammatory eating pattern can really help.
What does that look like in practice?
It means focusing on whole, unprocessed foods. Think lots of leafy greens, colorful vegetables, fruits like berries that are packed with antioxidants, fatty fish like salmon for omega-3s, using spices like turmeric.
And what should people try to limit?
Generally limiting things that can promote inflammation or worsen insulin resistance. So processed foods, sugary drinks and snacks, refined carbohydrates like white bread and pasta, focusing on whole grains instead.
So shifting towards more fresh whole foods.
Exactly. It can have a real impact on both hormonal balance and insulin sensitivity.
Okay. And what about when we eat? You mentioned time-restricted eating, TRE.
Right. TRE is another strategy that's gaining interest. The idea is to align your eating schedule more closely with your body's natural daily rhythms, its circadian rhythm.
How does that help?
By eating within a specific window each day, say 10 hours, like maybe 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., it can potentially improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation markers. Some people find it helps with blood sugar regulation and weight management too.
Is there a specific window that works best?
It varies. A 10 or 12-hour window is common to start with, but the key is consistency and listening to your body. And again, it's something worth discussing with your doctor or a dietitian, especially if you have other health conditions.
Good point. Now, supplements come up a lot too. What about adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha and maca root? Your research touched on those.
Yes, adaptogens are interesting. Ashwagandha is quite well known for helping the body manage stress, potentially by lowering cortisol levels, better stress resilience, maybe better sleep.
And maca.
Maca root is often associated with boosting energy levels and potentially helping with hormone regulation, though the research is still evolving.
So should people just start taking these?
I advise caution there. While they have potential benefits, it's really important, as some of your sources rightly warned, to talk to a healthcare professional first.
Why is that?
Well, individual responses can vary a lot. They might interact with other medications you're taking or might not be suitable if you have certain pre-existing conditions. So professional guidance is key before adding any new supplement, especially adaptogens.
Okay, important safety now. What about gut health? Is there a connection there with PCOS?
Oh, absolutely. The connection between gut health and overall health, including hormones, is becoming increasingly clear. The gut microbiome, that community of bacteria and other microbes in your digestive system, seems to play a role.
How so?
Research suggests that imbalances in the gut microbiome might contribute to inflammation and insulin resistance in PCOS. So supporting gut health could be beneficial.
And how do we support gut health? Probiotics.
Probiotics are one way. You can get them from fermented foods, things like kefir, live yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, or from supplements. They might help improve PCOS symptoms by reducing inflammation, maybe improving insulin sensitivity, and supporting that gut hormone connection.
Fascinating. Okay, let's talk exercise. Is one type better than another for PCOS?
Well, all movement is good, but strength training seems to offer some unique benefits for women with PCOS.
Really? Why strength training?
It's particularly good at improving insulin sensitivity. Plus, building lean muscle mass helps boost your metabolism and can really aid with weight management, which we know can be a challenge.
So lift weights.
Incorporating strength exercises maybe 2 or 3 times a week can be really effective. Of course, you still want cardiovascular exercise for heart health, and flexibility is important too, so balanced routine is ideal.
Okay. And stress. We know stress messes with hormones generally. How important is stress management in PCOS?
Hugely important. Stress can definitely make PCOS symptoms worse. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and high cortisol can further disrupt that delicate hormonal balance.
So what can people do?
Finding ways to actively manage stress is key. Things like mindfulness practices, meditation, deep breathing exercises can make a big difference. Yoga is another great option.
It's not just about feeling calmer.
No, it has physiological benefits too. Regularly reducing stress can improve energy levels, help with sleep, lower inflammation, all things that are really beneficial for managing PCOS.
Speaking of sleep, how critical is that?
Absolutely critical. Sleep is when our bodies do so much repair and regulation work, including for our hormones. Aiming for a solid 8 to 9 hours of quality, uninterrupted sleep per night is really important.
What happens if you don't get enough sleep?
Poor sleep can mess with insulin sensitivity, increase cortisol, and disrupt reproductive hormones. It's actually linked to worsening PCOS symptoms, including that fatigue and difficulty with weight.
So good sleep hygiene is non-negotiable.
Pretty much. Things like having a consistent bedtime, creating a relaxing wind-down routine, maybe reading a book instead of scrolling on your phone, avoiding screens for an hour or so before bed can really help improve sleep quality.
Okay. What about tracking your cycle? Is that helpful if it's irregular anyway?
It can be incredibly helpful, actually. Even if it's irregular, tracking your cycle, maybe using an app or a device or just noting things down, helps you understand your own body's patterns.
How does that help?
You can start to see if there are any patterns, however irregular. You might be able to identify when or if you ovulate, track symptoms alongside hormonal changes. This knowledge is empowering. It gives you valuable information to share with your doctor and helps tailor your approach.
Great, personalized information. Okay, I saw something about spearmint tea in the notes. That seems quite specific.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there is some research suggesting that spearmint tea might have anti-androgenic effects, meaning it could potentially help lower those androgen levels we keep talking about.
So it could help with things like hirsutism.
Potentially, yes. For women experiencing symptoms like excess hair growth, having a couple of cups of spearmint tea daily could be a simple, natural thing to try. Plus, it can be a nice calming ritual in itself.
Worth a try, perhaps. And another supplement often mentioned is inositol?
Yes, inositol, specifically 2 forms, myo-inositol and D-chiroinositol. These are sort of like B vitamins, and they play a role in how our body responds to insulin. They also seem important for ovarian function.
So how might they help with PCOS?
Research suggests inositol supplements can be quite beneficial. They might help regulate menstrual cycles, improve egg quality, support fertility, and even help lower total testosterone levels by improving insulin sensitivity. Again, definitely one to discuss with a healthcare provider regarding dosage and suitability.
Okay. And finally, we touched on the emotional side earlier. What about specific support for mental and emotional health?
This is so important. Living with PCOS can take an emotional toll. Building a support network is key.
Like talking to friends and family.
That helps, but also connecting with others who get it. Finding online or local PCOS support groups can make you feel less isolated. Hearing from others navigating the same challenges can be incredibly validating.
And professional help.
Absolutely. Therapy or counseling can provide really valuable tools and coping strategies for dealing with frustration, anxiety, body image issues, or depression related to PCOS. Don't hesitate to seek that support. And remember to celebrate the small wins along the way. Every positive step counts.
That's a great reminder. Such comprehensive information. Now, just circling back to fertility quickly, for listeners concerned about that, what's the main takeaway?
The main thing really is reassurance. While PCOS can affect fertility because of the ovulation issues, it is very often treatable.
So don't lose hope.
Definitely not. If you're trying to conceive and have PCOS, the best step is to work closely with a healthcare provider or a fertility specialist who really understands PCOS. They can create a personalized plan to help improve your chances.
Okay, so the overall message seems to be about taking charge, doesn't it? Even though PCOS is complex, there are many things people can actively do.
Absolutely. It's all about empowerment through action. Managing PCOS is definitely a journey, not a quick fix. It involves consistent effort, making those small, sustainable changes in diet, movement, stress, sleep.
It's about building healthier habits over time.
Exactly. Empowering yourself with knowledge, making informed choices, and being consistent. You have the power to significantly influence your well-being.
Yeah. Living with PCOS can feel overwhelming sometimes, we know that. But please remember, you're absolutely not alone in this.
Not at all.
Try to focus on those sustainable lifestyle changes, maybe explore complementary treatments that feel right for you, always checking with your doctor, of course. And please don't neglect your emotional and mental health through it all.
Well said. And maybe as you move forward from listening today, just take a moment. Think about one small thing, one actionable step you could take, maybe even starting today. It could be anything, really. Choosing water instead of a sugary drink, going for a short walk, taking 5 minutes for deep breathing, deciding on an earlier bedtime tonight. Anything.
Because those small changes add up.
Exactly. Even tiny steps done consistently can lead to really significant progress on your journey towards managing PCOS and finding better hormonal health. It's about starting somewhere.
That's a powerful final thought. Take that one small step. Thank you so much. This has been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure. It's an important conversation to have.
For expert fitness advice and personalized plans, visit ArmyGymnastics.com, your go-to resource to reach your goals. Start your journey today at ArmyGymnastics.com.
Thanks for listening. For all things health and fitness, subscribe to our newsletter today. Find out more at ArmyGymnastics.com.